Colorado State University releasing its updated outlook for the 2026 Atlantic hurricane season. So first eyes on it this morning, if you're joining us on Weather Command, and the numbers that matter, the named storms.
Yeah.
So what you have is the June numbers that are new in yellow, and then that first forecast that came out in April, which was also for a below average season.
They've gone down, right? Named storms dropping from 13 to 11. Hurricanes from 6 down to 5. Category 3, which are the major hurricanes, CSU deciding to keep those steady. So, of course, one of the first questions that you ask yourself is, why the change? These outlooks happen. We have the man, privileged to have him, the man behind the numbers this morning. Colorado State University hurricane specialist Phil Klotzbach. Phil, thank you for joining us. So looking at those numbers, I guess the obvious question I shall ask you first, and I have a feeling you might say El Nino a few times.
Yeah. So, we did lower the numbers some today, mainly just because there's increased confidence for a moderate and probably really likely strong El Nino this summer and fall. El Nino is warmer than normal waters in the central and eastern tropical Pacific Ocean. And why that matters for hurricanes in the Atlantic Ocean is what it does to levels of what we call vertical wind shear, which is the change in wind speed and direction with height in the atmosphere. Too much vertical wind shear tears apart hurricanes. And in general, when you get El Nino, you tend to get stronger shear. And especially as the El Nino gets stronger, the shear impacts into the Caribbean, into the tropical Atlantic also grow. And if we look at the forecast winds coming up, even over the next few weeks, you really are starting to see signs of quite strong winds extending into the Caribbean at upper levels, likely tearing apart any hurricanes that are trying to develop. We also are seeing just more and more signs that El Nino really is ramping up, kind of the typical thunderstorm formation zones, which shift from the Western Pacific more towards the Central Pacific, and an El Nino that's starting to develop as well. So certainly El Nino is really looking like it's going to lock in and probably be a pretty strong event for the next few months.
Yeah, I guess, we're also waiting for the update from NOAA when it comes to the status of El Nino, but it is a huge part of the overall narrative that we'll probably get out of the Atlantic basin. But I guess also looking at the timing for El Nino, we are looking at the potential for a strong El Nino as we get further into fall and eventually, especially into winter. But for the core of hurricane season, I guess then you're saying the thinking is it'll still be this influence that is dictating where storms are able and not able to form.
That's correct. Yeah, since the El Nino really has come on pretty quickly and is likely to get pretty strong pretty fast, we do think it's going to have quite significant impacts on this year's hurricane season. Typically, what ends Atlantic hurricane seasons is when the vertical wind shear gets too strong. So when you have an El Nino, that tends to also kind of basically really knock down late season storm activity. So overall, again, that's why we are expecting a somewhat below normal hurricane season this year. If it is a below normal season, it will be the first below normal hurricane season in the Atlantic since all the way back in 2015. From 2016 to 2025, those 10 years, 9 out of those 10 years were classified as either above normal or extremely active by NOAA. The only one that was not was 2022. That was considered basically an average or normal season, but that still obviously had Hurricane Ian. So if you think it's been busy in the Atlantic, it's because it has. But we are anticipating that streak of quite robust hurricane seasons to likely end this year.
And I think with El Nino flexing like it is, it gives confidence. I am wondering how easy or difficult it was to make that decision to adjust those numbers down. Because I would imagine, Phil, in past seasons, Colorado State University, you guys been issuing these forecasts, these outlooks for 40 years, more than 40 years. Would you say it was easier to make that call, to drop it by a couple of numbers as opposed to maybe other seasons where there's not a clear sign?
Yeah, this year, because the signal for El Nino is very, very strong, you look at all the different weather models, pretty much everything is pointing towards a very strong El Nino event this summer and fall. So it did make the forecast, reducing the numbers, somewhat more straightforward. When we put out the first forecast in April, signs were pointing towards probably a pretty robust El Nino, but there's just a lot of uncertainty during April. Once you get more towards June, like we are now, the signals and basically the confidence in what El Nino or La Nina is going to look like really does tend to grow. This year, because the El Nino signal is so strong, it gives us pretty high confidence that we we should expect to have below average hurricane activity this summer and fall. Though we obviously do emphasize that even in below normal hurricane seasons, you can still have one or more significant hurricane landfall. So it's important for those living in coastal areas to be prepared the same regardless of hurricane outlooks, because these outlooks aren't perfect, and even if they are, obviously it only takes one hurricane making landfall near you to make it an active season.
Yeah, an important guiding factor, right? The numbers are one thing, impact to land is another. When we talk about that next update, not that we're not satisfied with the one we got, but you will issue another update to the forecast when we get into August. And looking ahead to that, would you say now that there perhaps is an X factor that could push you to perhaps increase that forecast or otherwise?
Yeah, I mean, so, obviously the El Nino looks to be pretty robust. I mean, I'd be obviously very surprised at this point if El Nino didn't come on fast and strong. Obviously, if for some reason the Atlantic were to warm up considerably in the next couple of months, obviously the Atlantic always warms up during the summer, but if say it were to warm up a lot faster than normal, perhaps that would cause us to increase the numbers. But at this point, the Atlantic is kind of near average water temperature wise, and there doesn't look to be any kinds of signals in the low-level winds. If those winds were suddenly to get really weak, that could cause a lot of potential warming because you wouldn't have the evaporation off the ocean surface. But at this point, we don't see that. For example, just kind of as an analog, back in 2023, we had a strong El Nino developing, but at the same time, we had a record warm Atlantic, and the vertical wind shear response in the Atlantic was very different from your typical El Nino because the Atlantic was so hot, it kind of altered the tropical circulation and reduced the shear considerably from what you would expect in a typical El Nino. Thankfully, this year, the Atlantic is not nearly as warm as it was at this time in 2023. So we really are expecting the robust El Nino to really drive the bus.
Yeah, 2023 was really a head-scratching year. I do remember that, seeing those sea surface temperatures off the charts. And I believe, Phil, my memory might not serve me right, but there was this remarkable lull in activity that we had in August. I believe it was 2023 and into September. Is that correct? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so 2024 is when we had that really, really pronounced lull. 2023, so the last two seasons, we've had these kind of oddball lulls during the climatological or average peak of the season, followed by busy ends of seasons. 2023 was more of a classic season in that, we had a couple storms early, then it got quiet, and then around mid-August, the season really ramped up. So my mentor, Dr. Bill Gray, who founded the seasonal hurricane forecast at CSU, used to ring a bell every year on August 20th, signaling the active part of the season. And in 2023, basically the day the bell rang, August 20th, we had a whole pile of storms. We had a very, very active September that year. Then this season really did tail off. If you look at the tracks, though, in 2023, you will note that there weren't a ton of storms in the Caribbean. And that is more of the sign of El Nino, but certainly it was an odd year to have a pretty healthy El Nino and obviously 20 storms, which is a lot. And so again, that was because the Atlantic that year was so hot that it kind of counteracted the typical El Nino response. Whereas this year, thankfully, the Atlantic is not nearly as warm as it was in 2023. So we are anticipating the season to be, to have quite a bit less activity than what we saw that year.
Yeah, and hey, your outlook getting updated on a day when we have our first area to watch out of the Gulf, which you could also argue is more of a symptom of an El Nino taking hold with that development, perhaps a little bit closer to home, as we like to say. But I don't know. I don't know if this will get a name. I don't think it will, but it is interesting to see the timing there, Phil.
Yeah, this is typically kind of when storms, you might start seeing things threatening potentially, especially in the Western Atlantic. Typically, the vertical wind shear response is very strong in the deep tropics. At higher latitudes, the vertical wind shear response is quite a bit less. If you're looking at storm potential formations in the Gulf, there's not as much of a signal with El Nino. The good thing, though, is that, storms forming, say, in the central or northern Gulf, well, they still could obviously pose significant rainfall threats, likely not to be big wind and storm surge threats just because they only have a couple of days probably before they get on shore. So not that they're non-events, because certainly flooding can be a huge driver of loss and unfortunately have fatalities. But in terms of wind and storm surge, typically you need to have storms be around for several days for them to get strong enough and have long enough fetch to really generate the robust storm surges.
Well, very insightful information. Glad that we were able to talk to you at the top of the hour with the new numbers. And I'm sure we will be talking again in August as we continue to march through this hurricane season, although it feels like we've been crawling through it, right? We're just 10 days in with a long way still to go. Appreciate you joining us this morning, Senior Colorado State Research Scientist, Dr. Phil Klotzbach. Thank you.